Hi friends! Today I have a huge lettering supplies haul to share with you. There are a lot of brush pens, you will find some fine liners and some paper products, as well as some kind of fun pens that I tried for embossing and other ones for some metallic inks. So we will get right into it and I will show you each of these pen sets, and I'm also going to show you swatches and a little bit of how they work as well. Some of these pens are brand new to me and others are repurchases, but I just kind of kept them separate as I've been shopping over the last couple of months so that I could show you them all together. So the first set is a repurchase, but I have not tried these colors yet, and that is the Tombow twin tone markers. I have the pastels set, and I actually was really surprised with how much I liked them. I didn't think that they were going to be anything special, but I ended up really liking them. So I decided to go ahead and purchase the Brights pack just to see what it was like. As you can see, there's the thicker felt tip on one side, and then the other side is a really fine tip. I personally prefer to use the thicker felt tip. I don't use the fine one as much, but it is really nice if you want really fine writing. I'm also using this journal that I showed in another video. It is the $5 Artist Loft journal that I did a comparison with the Leuchtturm journal, so if you are interested in seeing the differences between those two, I will link that video for you below. I wasn't positive that I'd like the Brights pack because I tend to find myself really liking more muted colors. I usually stick with pastels or kind of more natural colors, but I don't know, I've been finding myself really liking the bright colors lately, so I decided that I would try these out, and I really do like them. With the exception of like the oranges and yellows, I really do think that I will be using these colors, and maybe not so much the browns either, but as you can see, like these pinks and purples and a couple of the blues, they have a really nice tone and they are bright, but they're not like all primary colors. So I really like those, and I love how they look and give you like a nice monoline lettering in your journaling. The next ones that I'm going to show you are the Papermate Flairs, and these, I have another pack of them. I think it's the Candy Pop collection, which is like more pastel colors, and again, I thought I would try the brights of these. I actually planned to purchase the really large pack that is sold on Amazon, but as I got to reading reviews, I saw a ton of reviews from people saying that when they purchased them, a bunch of them were dried out, so I decided not to risk it and just go ahead and get this one. I think that also people were saying there might have been duplicate colors. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I decided that I didn't really want to risk getting a bunch of dried out pens, so that I would just get this smaller pack and kind of add to my collection. These actually remind me a lot of the Tombow Twin Tone. They're not identical, but they feel they feel similar. The thing that I find that the Papermate Flairs are different in is, to me, they feel a lot more firm when you write, whereas if you push really hard on the Tombow Twin Tones, I feel like it would fray a little bit. So these give you maybe a little bit more of a fine lettering style, and they're just a little bit more firm when you're pushing on them, but the colors are still bright and super pretty. The next markers that I'm going to show you, I purchased because I have the Naturals pack in this set, and every time I use them, I get so many questions about what they are, and so I thought that I would try out two of the other sets and show you guys. And this is the notebook that I'm going to be using. It's a marker paper notebook, and I got it at Michael's. It was kind of expensive, so definitely use a coupon. I think it was $20, but I got it for cheaper than that, and it's really thick pages. There's this like clear page in the front, and then it's super smooth. So I like to use my smooth copy paper, but I don't always want to write in copy paper and have loose leaf paper all over. So when I saw this, I knew that I would be able to use it for a lettering practice journal that I'm not going to ruin my brush pens in, and then I can also show you guys after the journal's full kind of how I practice and just a flip through. So I thought that I would try that out, and I'm really loving it. So first I'm going to show you the pastel set. I worried that these would be a little bit too light to see on paper, which some of them are, as you'll see. They're really light and kind of get washed out on film, and they're pretty light on the paper as well. So you'll definitely see if you would like to invest in these or not. I love these markers. I found them once on a random end cap at Michael's, and I decided to try them, and they became one of my favorites. I don't see them used as commonly, but like I said, every time I use them I get so many questions. So I thought that I would try these other colors out as well, and there are a few really pretty ones in this pastel set, but as you can see, some of them are pretty washed out and hard to see. And next up, I have the Brights pack. You will see that these are super pigmented and really, really pretty. Some people ask me if these are good for beginners, and my answer is kind of yes and no. As you can see, the tip isn't quite as big as some other ones, but it's really flexible. So you can get a really, really thick downstroke, and then you can get a really thin upstroke because of that flexibility. But so for some people, that might feel like it's a little bit harder. But one thing that I think it has going for it for beginners is that it's really like it bounces back really fast, so you're not trying to wait for this really slow transition from thick to thins. So I don't know, it kind of depends on if you really like a flexible marker or not. These are really, really, really flexible. A lot of people I know have tried them and have loved them. But for beginners, just be aware that while the tips are smaller, which can make it easier, they're also super flexible, which can make it a little bit difficult. So it's kind of a give and take. So the next markers that I tried are these Sharpie stained markers, and these actually are fabric markers, but I've seen a lot of people use them in lettering. When I first tried to order them months and months ago, they were super expensive on Amazon, I think because I don't know if they were out of stock or something, but they were something like $20 for just like 2 markers or something like that. So I didn't try them, but I eventually found them for a good deal, and I decided to try them. And honestly, I think these might be one of my very favorite markers. They, like I said, are for fabric, so they're super juicy, and you do have to wait a little bit for them to dry. If I were to flip this page over right now, it would probably bleed onto the other side or smear on the page. But as far as how they write, I was just super impressed with them. It's like the tip is the perfect length, and they have a lot of pigment that comes out of them, and there is a lot of flexibility. When I've been getting these new markers, I've been trying to test out the blue like a ton just to kind of keep track of which one I'm using. Every single one, I'm trying to use the blue up and just write over and over and over with it just to test and see if it bleeds or if it frays easily or if it dries out easily. But this blue, I used it on several pages and it is still looking awesome. I don't know how long these will work, but like I said, I use the blue a ton and it still looks really great. And I just feel like these are the perfect like medium-sized tip for hand lettering. Like I said, they are one of my new favorites and I will definitely be using these a lot more. So the next ones that I'm going to show you are another Sharpie product, and honestly this packaging really makes me laugh because I never would have ever thought to buy these or even look at them on the shelf. They totally look like they are just office supplies, but because I had seen somebody use the new Sharpie markers or Sharpie brush pens, I went looking for them, and so I definitely think the packaging is really weird for brush pens because like I said, it looks like office supplies, but they are brush pens and they work really nicely, but they're also really unique. So it comes with this carrying case and a variety of these bright colors. And the thing that's really unique about these brush pens is the tip. If you saw my Kelly Creates dual brush pen review of her two double-ended markers, you'll know that the thing that I thought was really unique was the tip of her small brush pen because it was very fine and it also was very flexible, so it allowed you to get some pretty thin upstrokes, and I really like that, but I just thought it was pretty expensive. These pens are really similar. I don't know if they're quite as long, but they're pretty similar in that they have that really flexible and really thin tip, and they also have some really pretty colors. It almost looked like they were all primary colors when I bought it, but as you can see, the mint is really pretty, the salmon, even the red isn't like this bold primary red. They are really pretty, so I was surprised. I think that both of the Sharpie products I tried this time were a huge win, and I will definitely be using these more. Let me know if you want like a full review on these products, and I will definitely try to do that if you guys are interested. So I decided to try these two Kelly Creates products again. The first one is the Jewel brush pens, and I actually thought that these were going to be like a spitting image of the Zig Fudabiori metallic brush pens. Those were one of the first brush pens that I got, and I was actually pretty surprised. These really don't feel like them much at all to me. These are very, very, very pigmented, where it almost feels like a ton of ink is coming out. When I tried to write on a different paper, like I had bubbles all over because so much of it was coming out. So I'm not gonna lie, these were not my favorite. I'll show you in a close-up here as well. There were a lot of fray marks on this on this lettering, and this was the very first time I used these. I took them straight out of the pack, and you can see just tons of different parts where the pens were already frayed. So I love the colors. They're so, so pretty, and I'll show you writing them, using them writing a little bit bigger, because I do think that they would be a little bit better for bigger markers. But I just really struggled with the fact that my markers seemed to be frayed the first time that I used them. So here I'm just kind of pointing where you can see. I don't know if it'll all show up on camera, but there were just a ton of spots where it was very clear that the markers were frayed, or for some reason they were showing really big fray marks. When I do some lettering in it later, you'll see some streaks that came through, and also the pen was kind of like flicking the paint around. So I don't know, like the colors are so pretty and I really want to love them, but the fact that the brush is just so floppy, and I might be able to get over that just because, like I said, the colors are so pretty, but it's really hard to think about recommending a pen that came to me frayed, because I definitely expect my brush pens to fray over time. Even some of them fray like really quickly, and they're still great brush pens. I still love them, but I definitely don't feel like they should have these fray marks when I first get them. Especially when you do have such a comparable product with the Zig Fujibiori ones. Those are very, very pigmented as well. I don't know that they carry all the same colors though. They're pretty similar, but I'm not sure that they have exact dupes for each one. I will have to test that out. But here I'm just showing you, I thought I would give it another chance writing bigger. I thought maybe some of my problems were because I was writing so small. But as you can see how pigmented it is, you can see that there's bubbles all over in my gold lettering. I'm just going to show you a side by side so you can see the difference in sizes that I was writing. And I will just speed this up a little bit so you can kind of get a feel for that. Like I said, they're so pretty. The color is so pretty. So it's definitely not something I would say, like, if you really want to try these colors, definitely go try it. But just be aware that the lines don't feel very clean, and it feels like there is fraying in this brush pen. Maybe it was just my pack. Like you can see there, it kind of like streaked over, and some ink, I don't know if it dripped or if it's because there's a frayed part of the brush pen that kind of flicked the ink over. I think it happens a couple other times, but you can just kind of decide for yourself. I was kind of bummed out about these though, because they are so pretty and I just really wanted them to work really well. And I hate to be such a downer on these. I feel like I just really, really wanted to like them so much, and I keep having negative things to say. But I just feel like the best thing is to share with you the pluses and the minuses of things, and then you can decide what you want to spend your money on, if it's worth it for you. I definitely don't want to be saying that something's amazing if I had all these issues with it, because I don't want you guys to waste your money, and I don't want you to be disappointed with the products that I recommend. I want you to have the whole picture of what it's going to be like as much as I can give you. So I hope that doesn't make me sound like too much of a downer. I just really had some issues with these ones. So the next pens that I'm going to show you are the other Kelly Creates product that I tried, and these ones are a little bit happier. So these are very similar to the Pentel Touch Pen, which we all love, or if you've tried them, usually people love. And they have some pretty nice colors, and I'm missing one in the pack, but I will leave a link for where you can purchase this below. As of right now, I think you can only get them on her website or Michael's, but I will double check and leave all of the links in the description box below for everything that I showed today. So as I did with the other ones, I tried this blue over and over and over. I used it a ton and I really like these. They lasted a lot, but here I'm taking a little pause because this one I pulled it out and it had like fuzz all over it, and I'm not sure what it was. It was just kind of like coated in fuzz, and I've had this happen to another brush pen before, but it obviously isn't showing up very well here. And so I just wrote it off, and I'll see if it comes back, but you will see a little bit later after I write. You can kind of see where the beginning strokes have a little bit of gray, and that's because whatever this fuzz was just kind of came off, and I don't know. Like I said, I've had that happen one other time before, and it was on a really, really inexpensive brush pen. It almost looks like mold, but I don't know. If you have ever had that happen to a brush pen, let me know below, and let me know if you know what it was, because it's super weird, but like I said, it has happened before. Although I should note that when it happened before, I actually saw it in the store, so I didn't actually buy the brush pen. So I guess it was a little different, but overall, I think that you guys as beginners, or those of you who are beginners, are really going to like this brush pen. These smaller size brush pens can be super awesome for beginners because the tips are so small and they give you a really nice thin upstroke. As you can see, it's not for huge lettering. You will get really thin lines compared to like a bigger brush pen, but they can be really nice for when you're starting because you can kind of get a feel for your thicks and thins a little bit easier without having to control it and create huge lettering. So overall, I really like these. As always, if you are shopping at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or anything like that, try to use a coupon because they usually always have one and then you can get a better deal. But overall, I think that you guys will really like these. So the next ones that I'm going to show you are these Winsor & Newton watercolor brush markers. And every time I use these, I get people telling me that you can't use the brush markers for hand lettering, or you shouldn't, or they're not meant to. And I just wanted to clarify, these are the watercolor markers. And when people say that you shouldn't use the brush markers for lettering, well, I mean, you can use whatever you want for lettering, but I just personally don't think that the regular ones are great for lettering. They're not really made for lettering, although I don't know that these ones are either, but these I have great luck with, and the regular brush markers I do not. So if you are looking for the difference, just make sure that you are purchasing the watercolor markers, and these are really great. As you can see, they also have a bullet tip. I do find that the bullet tip goes flat really fast, so or somewhat quickly, especially if you have a heavy hand like I do. So I definitely wouldn't purchase them for that, but they are great for hand lettering. They are a little bit similar to the Ecoline. I don't think they're exactly the same. I think that the tip might be just a little bit longer than the Ecoline. I'll have to compare them. If you guys want a full video, I can do that, a full like review and comparison, but I haven't done like an exact comparison. They just feel a little bit firmer and a little bit longer, and as you can see, get really pretty results. I also thought I would show you a bigger lettering with these because these do a little bit better when you have a little bit more space to write and are lettering larger phrases. So the next ones that I want to show you are these Jane Davenport mermaid markers, and I've seen these around and usually they have pretty good reviews, but it's usually because of the color. They are super pretty and super pigmented, and they are a watercolor, like a water brush, and you guys know that I love lettering with my Aquash water brush. I always try out different ones. Usually I just go back to the Aquash. As you can see, these ones are a little bit stiff before, and I'm just showing you how to open them and activate them. You are going to take that ring out, and then you are going to screw that in, and then you will kind of squeeze it to allow the watercolor to flow down there. I'm not sure if it's watercolor or ink. They say watercolor, but I would make sure to have like an extra piece of paper under this because these were really drippy. So you're going to want to make sure as you squeeze, you don't squeeze too hard. Some of mine dripped out the side and others didn't. Some worked better than others, so you will kind of see that through here. I found these at Michael's for $40 or $39.99, but I found them under $20 on Amazon, so I went ahead and purchased them. A lot of the Amazon reviews said that they came to them leaky, so I decided to try it anyway. And I didn't notice at first, but I did notice eventually that my green one kind of leaked. It's kind of leaky on the inside, as you can see, and it had some leaking on the outside when I took it out. And when I activated it, it kind of leaked from the top. So I'm not really sure what the reasoning for that is and why there's so many leaking issues, but definitely be aware of that. If you have a coupon and could purchase it at the store for a similar price as Amazon, then you might want to try that. But overall, I didn't have a ton of leaking, and I'm also showing you this one. I think that little piece is supposed to be in the bottom. It just kind of popped out and now it's in the middle. So there's definitely some manufacturing things with these brush pens that were kind of frustrating, especially if you were to spend the more expensive price. But as you can see when I'm doing some lettering, you will see why people still love them because they're so, so, so pretty. The colors are really beautiful, and eventually I will show you how I decided to use them so that I wasn't having leaks all over and making a huge mess, because as you can see, I've got some mess on my hands already, and this one just kind of leaked right out as I showed you. I wasn't really squeezing super hard or anything. I think I just opened it and it kind of started squeezing or leaking. So some of them were really hard to get liquid out of, and then others I would give like one squeeze and it would squirt all over. So it's definitely I don't know if it would take you like more trial to figure it out, or if it's just something that it kind of is what it is. I don't know that these are always used for lettering, so maybe if you were like painting a background, you wouldn't be bothered as much because you can kind of just push out as much as you want. And so maybe that wouldn't be as bad, but I think that these will not work for me as far as the actual watercolor brush goes. But I do love the colors, they're so pretty, and so I decided to use them a little bit differently, which I will show you here in a second. Other thing that I noticed with the tip of these water brushes is that they almost kind of fanned out at the end, which is definitely not ideal for hand lettering because it makes it so you can't get those really thin upstrokes. So again, I kind of did the best that I could with lettering with these, and they were okay, but obviously not ideal for me when it comes to hand lettering. So what I decided to do was just drop a few drops in here, and then I am using my gouache water brush, and then I'm kind of adding a little bit of water to it so you can kind of see just how pigmented they are. You will see that I can just keep adding water over and over, and it just continues on. So these are really pretty and really pigmented, and I'm excited to use them this way. I just wish that she would sell, or that the company would sell, their inks by themselves, because that would be amazing if you could just purchase the inks or the watercolors and just be able to use them with whatever brush that you wanted. The next product is not a brush pen, but these are called the Molotow, I think is how you pronounce it, liquid chrome markers, and they are a bullet tip marker, and they are super, super shiny when it comes to silver lettering. So I just thought that I would show you these. It's almost hard to tell when I'm using paper. As you can see, they're really glossy. They do kind of settle in more to the paper. I think that that people really like these when they are writing on something that it won't soak into. So like if you're writing on acrylic, or if you're writing on stone or marble or tile or something like that, maybe for like place cards if you do wedding calligraphy. So another thing that I've seen people write with these on is like leaves outside. So these are really pretty, and I honestly just kind of wanted to try them. They're a really fun marker to use. I love monoline lettering, and I think it looks really pretty, so I just thought that I would try these out, and as you can see, they are every bit as shiny as you would think they'd be. The next type of brush pen that I'm going to show you is for embossing, and when I do embossing in my videos, I often get questions about which brush pen that I recommend, because I usually do a bullet tip or monoline lettering with embossing, and the reason I don't show one is because I just haven't found one that works. So when I saw these on Amazon, I decided to try them because you guys know that I love the Zig brushables, which I'm assuming these are pretty similar to. These are something that I bought despite the Amazon reviews, because they come as, I believe, a 6-pack. I will link in the description box again, but a lot of reviews said that they only got one marker, so I decided to try it because Amazon's so good about when you get things that are wrong or mispackaged or whatever. They're usually pretty good about either giving you something to send it back, or refunding you, or sending you another one or whatever. So I just decided to try it, but luckily I did get all 6, so maybe they have figured it out. And then I'm also just showing you with this embossing powder. As you can see, I'm kind of shaking it off a lot, which I think I shook off a little bit of the upstrokes, the thinner parts. I had a little bit of hard time getting these to stick, so I will do it again and show you on a black cardstock so that you can see the difference. I was hoping that this would look really nice on black, which it does, and I just kind of went over the upstrokes a little bit extra to make sure that I get that ink out on them, and I had a little bit better of luck the second time. The one downside for me with these is that they have the scroll on the other end. I'm not even 100% sure what that's for, but I cannot imagine ever using it in my style of lettering, so I really would love if they either had a bullet tip or another brushable on the end, but that's okay because, like I said, these came as a 6-pack, so they weren't super expensive, and overall, I really loved how they looked. I just found maybe don't shake it off so much. I would definitely recommend using like a empty paintbrush or a dry paintbrush instead of just shaking it, and you might leave a little bit more of that embossing powder on there. As you can see, the black on black is super pretty. I don't think it even shows up as much on camera, but I definitely love this combination, and you will be seeing this more for sure, especially on Instagram, where I share a little bit quicker videos over there. And the last thing that I wanted to show you was this paper. Like a lot of you know, I use the HP Premium Choice LaserJet paper for most of my lettering, but I did notice that they changed the packaging on Amazon, and it just says Premium 32 now. I did see some descriptions that still said the same thing, but I decided to try it out, and it was almost time for me to restock. So I just bought it a little bit early since I know I will need more, and I was hoping that it would feel the same because I definitely want to update you guys if they changed it and it's not great for lettering. So I purchased it, and honestly, it was just as smooth, if not smoother, than before. It feels amazing, and it still worked amazing. So I just wanted to update you guys on that if you were curious, like, why it doesn't say the HP Premium Choice Laserjet. I'm not really sure. I think I might email them and just ask if they changed anything. I did notice on the Amazon listing that it says packaging may vary or something like that, basically telling you that the packaging might be a little bit different. So I'm not sure if they just updated it and are kind of using up the old stuff, or I don't know. But either way, it is great. I will leave the link in the description box. But if you see this new packaging, I really loved it still, and it still held up just as well and was super, super smooth. So I'm so thankful. And I just wanted to mention, the reason that I love this paper so much isn't because it's like better than every other marker paper. I know a lot of people can't find it in your country, and that's okay. Just look for a marker paper or something that's ultra smooth. But the reason that I love it is because it's just as great, in my opinion, as marker paper, but it's very inexpensive. So if you can buy it on Amazon in these large packs, I know it is. I did price it out one time as far as like page price per page, and it was quite a bit cheaper by several times than a typical marker paper. So again, it's kind of like Crayolas. They're great and I love them, but it's not that they're the best thing out there. It's just that they're really affordable if you can find them. So I just wanted to update you on that. If you can't find it, it's okay. Just look for a marker paper or a smooth paper. Let me know if you want a video more about that, and I would be happy to do that for you. So if you have made it to the end of this super long video, thank you so much for watching. I had no idea that it was going to be this long until I went to edit it, and when I shared it on Instagram, a lot of you were excited about a longer video. So let me know. I was kind of afraid to post something this long, but let me know if you like the longer videos or if you prefer me to make them a little bit smaller. Like I said, I try to just keep, when I get new products, keep them separate so that I can show you in my next haul. Maybe I need to show you a little bit more frequently. But again, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at How to Hand Letter. I post little Insta story videos and things throughout the week, so you can find more lettering and tips there. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!